before Columbus set foot on the shores of the New World, long before the first European maps sketched the outline of an unfamiliar continent, an ancient land thrived under the dominion of beasts so massive, so powerful, that they shaped the very essence of the world around them. These creatures roamed the untamed wilderness, leaving trails deep in the soil, forging rivers where none had existed, and dictating the fate of every living thing beneath their towering shadows. This was a time when mammoths marched across frozen tundras, saber-toothed cats ruled the forests, and sloths the size of small houses clawed at the treetops. It was a world poised on the edge of an unseen transformation, one that would see both the rise and fall of these titanic beings in a battle against time, climate, and an emerging predator unlike any they had faced before: humanity. The mastodons and mammoths, with their shaggy coats and sweeping tusks, roamed the plains in great herds. They were the architects of their environment, pulling down trees with their immense trunks and carving pathways through the thick forests. Their presence dictated where plants would grow, where rivers would shift, and where the land itself would yield to their mighty presence. But they were not invincible. Far to the south, the short-faced bear, standing twice the height of a man when rearing on its hind legs, lurked with hungry eyes, stalking the vulnerable young and wounded. The forests trembled under the feet of Arctidus simus, its breath steaming in the cold air as it chased down prey at terrifying speeds. Meanwhile, the ground sloths, monstrous in scale, moved with deceptive sluggishness. These behemoths, towering at nearly 20 feet, reared up on their hind legs to strip entire branches from the tallest trees. Their massive claws, curved and razor-sharp, could shred bark and flesh alike. While they feasted on vegetation, they were formidable enough to drive away all but the most desperate of predators. Their kingdom was the dense woodlands, where their slow but unstoppable presence shaped the flora in ways no human hand ever had. The saber-toothed cats ruled the hunt, striking terror into the hearts of all who crossed their paths. With fangs as long as a man's forearm, they hunted with a ferocity unmatched, driving their dagger-like teeth into the throats of mastodon calves or bison stragglers. They hunted in packs, their thick coats camouflaging them in the golden grasses of the plains, and when they struck, it was with precision and finality. Yet even they had enemies. The dire wolves, larger and stronger than their modern descendants, hunted in packs of such numbers that they could challenge even the mightiest felines. Their howls filled the night, echoing across a landscape that belonged, for now, to them. The world shifted with the passing of the ages, and then came the change none of these creatures could foresee. From the northernmost reaches of the land, a new predator emerged. The first humans arrived in small bands, their bodies wrapped in furs, their hands gripping spears tipped with sharpened stone. They had not the strength of the short-faced bear, nor the claws of the saber-toothed cat, nor the sheer size of the mammoth, but they had something far deadlier: strategy. They moved in unison, their minds sharp, their actions deliberate. They observed, they learned, and they adapted. At first, they lived on the edges, scavengers of an already dangerous world. But soon they became hunters. With cunning and patience, they tracked their prey for miles, waiting for weakness, exploiting exhaustion. One by one, the giants fell. The mammoths, once kings of the plains, became meat for the fires of these small, determined creatures. The great sloths, too slow to retreat, fell beneath the weight of sharpened spears. Even the mighty saber-toothed cat found its dominion slipping, its kills stolen, its cubs vulnerable. The dire wolves, once masters of the hunt, now scavenged at the camps of these two-legged intruders. But the humans were not the only force of change. The earth itself was shifting, the climate warming, the ice sheets retreating. Rivers swelled, forests expanded, and the balance tilted further. The great beasts that had once been rulers of this untamed wilderness found themselves trapped in a world they no longer understood. With fewer open plains, with shifting prey, with the ever-encroaching menace of humans, their numbers dwindled. Then came the final winters, the last gasps of an era. The mammoths, reduced to scattered herds, wandered their ancient paths, their footprints filling with snow. The great bears, unable to compete with these new invaders, retreated into the shadows. The saber-toothed cats made their last stands, their roars echoing through empty valleys, until one day they fell silent. The dire wolves, their packs splintered, became whispers of legend. And then the world belonged to the humans. The landscape, once ruled by giants, was now shaped by hands that built, burned, and farmed. The creatures that had once nearly wiped out the land through sheer dominance were gone, leaving only bones buried deep beneath the soil. Their time had ended, but their legacy endured. The earth still bore their mark, the rivers still ran in the paths they carved, and the forests still held the echoes of their passage. The world had changed forever, and a new age had begun. Yet, beneath the ground, hidden beneath layers of earth and time, their remains waited. The bones of mammoths lay in icy graves, preserved against the tide of history. The teeth of saber-toothed cats, once instruments of death, now lay motionless, studied by future generations. The fossilized claws of the great sloths remained, silent reminders of a time when giants ruled. And as humans thrived and civilizations rose, they would one day uncover these remnants, piecing together the story of an age when nature was untamed, when the land was wild, and when the world was shaped not by cities or machines, but by creatures of unimaginable power. The giants had vanished, but in the echoes of history, they would never truly be forgotten.